Welcome to Adam Does Movies Live. We're ready to go right on time. I have some announcements before we get started with the video, but this is going to be a fun one. After what felt like an eternity, really nothing more than 48 to 72 hours of pain and anguish over a silly, inconsequential review online, we're moving past it. We're an adult. We're growing up. I say we're an adult. Like I'm more than one person. I'm singular. I'm just an empty shell, really, of a singular vessel himself. But yeah, I'm moving past it. We're going to have a good time here. And I thought, what better way to bring people together than to talk about villains? Good, wholesome, fun-ass villains that the whole family can appreciate and enjoy. So I put together what I consider to be pretty much the pinnacle of humor, of comedy, of villainry. And I presented in a top 10 list. That's right. I actually ordered this list. I'm comfortable with it. You could phase me. You could move me a little bit here and there. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy with it. Let's get into some housekeeping before I get into it. Hope everyone is having a good time. First thing I have to point out, we have a fence up. We have a pool update, 2023 pool update. The fence is up. The neighbor has put the fence up. It looks good for an ugly ass fence. I'm gonna get on to a side tangent right out of the gates. I don't like fences. If you're gonna do a fence, let's do the clear black chain link fence. It's elegant. It's simple. It's good enough for me. And let's make it uniform. You know, I'm part of an HOA, which is just a wonderful scam all around. You pay a few $100. Our HOA went up $1,000 for the next year. That's fun. That's a fun time on the pocketbook. So the HOA's job is to make sure everybody's yards look manicured, make sure that their gutters are pristine, that their entryways look clean. But when it comes to the fence, it's kind of the Wild West. So you have these rickety-ass fences next to polished oak, next to a vintage pine. There's a cherry wood in the mix. It's just topsy-turvy. The fences are scattered. It's just a shit show. And so my neighbor's got a fence up, which means, I'm in the clear. I'm not putting a fence up. I don't understand that either. If you have fences on both sides of you, what are you doing? You don't need to put anything up. Unfortunately, I don't have a fence on the other side next to the elderly people who smoke like chimney stacks. So it's not great either way. I have a bad situation over here where I'm at. But the pool is coming along swimmingly, as they say. Palm trees are up. It's a sight. It's a sight that thankfully I don't have to see much of anymore. So maybe in another week or 2 or 3, I will get my back porch back and I can do some work out there. I can enjoy the fresh air and the breeze and the trees and the life, and that'll be great. Another thing, tomorrow I'm going to be going to The Boy and the Heron with my son Connor. We're going to a 7 o'clock show at the Regal, and then I will have a review to follow. I don't know if I'll have the review out that night. Probably not, unless it's really late. But you can expect that Thursday. It's not technically Studio Ghibli. I don't think that they're a thing anymore from what I know, which is very little about that sort of thing. It's out of my wheelhouse. My son, though, loves that studio. I'm very hit or miss with them. Spirited Away, I think, is an amazing film. It's a classic. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. A lot of layer to the messaging. I like some of the other work. Howl's Moving Castle moved me well enough. I like Kiki's Delivery Service. It's cute. It's charming. It's whimsical. I'm not big on Princess Mononoke, which I know is a pretty high top tier for them. But you know me, I like to be different. I like to be different for clout. No, I watched it with my family, and none of us actually really liked it. Just the whole environmental message was so obvious and hit over your head. There wasn't enough action. There wasn't enough real good drama to it. It just was kind of there. I didn't care for it, but I understand why people like it, of course. Die Hard is back in theaters for the holidays, just in time. I'm going to be going to it most likely Friday with my buddy Matt. I'm excited. Going to go towards his neck of the woods. We're going to see the town. We're going to maybe have some food. Well, we will. I have to eat. I need sustenance. This temple doesn't run on nothing but oxygen. And we'll check out the Die Hard film in theaters for the first time ever. I get to see it on the big screen. I'm very happy. Very happy for that friendship, too. Thank you, Matt, for pointing out that that's coming Friday. I might have 2 more secret reviews tomorrow. It depends on how motivated I am. I watched a movie that was recommended by stupid Cody Leach, and it sucked ass. It was terrible. And he privately messaged me and said, Adam, give this one a chance. Give this movie a chance. And I did, Cody. And you know what? Never forget. I'm just going to say that. Never forget. I'll have a review for that mystery movie. I also watched another one that I only got halfway through because the Peacock app sucks so fucking bad that I decided I'm going to do a half review on this movie that I actually enjoyed. And then the other half is going to be just a complete rant about how much Peacock is the worst. Last thing, well, 2 more things, really. Merch store. I actually have a merch store. If you didn't know, Adam Does Movies. It's on Teespring. There's links on YouTube somewhere. But I will have some holiday specials. If you want to support the channel and get yourself a t-shirt or an iPhone case or something, there's Adam Does Movies merch. I'm coming up with a couple new ones, though, that are going to go up there. Just a straight strong male lead and a strong female lead. No extra O's or anything. It's just a straight up, like you wear this shirt and you're basically saying, I am a strong male lead. I'm a strong female lead. We will, what else? I'll have maybe 1 or 2 other special edition shirts just for the holidays as well. Again, it's all about motivation and how much work I can get done in the time I have. Lastly, super chats for the live stream are always a nice thank you. They're always a nice tip of the hat. The last couple have been absolutely insane with the super chats. I don't expect to match what we did there. I can't thank people enough for the support. The Godzilla -1 thing was sad. It was disgusting. It was disappointing that people decided they had to, just like attack a channel as a group, as a collective mob. But that's the internet, right? That's what we do. That's what we deal with. You put yourself out there. You have to expect some of it, I guess, from time to time. And I got some of it okay. I'm done with that. And I'm going to make a little pledge here, and you can hold me to it. And I would love if you did. There is no question that this stuff's going to keep happening, especially in 2024. It's these fandoms keep building up, and there's going to be icky ones in the mix that will go after you and go after critics and whatever. And that's just part of it. I want you to hold me to this. I'm not going to let it get to me, and I'm not going to address them in the future. I'm just going to put my review out, and I'm going to walk away and just assume that at some point, yeah, people will get pissed. I read the comments because I do like to respond to people in my community when they say something. I want to give them a heart. I want to talk to them. But it is tricky when you have to kind of comb through a whole bunch of garbage to get to some of the nice stuff. So I appreciate people who had my back, and I appreciate you for watching. There's a lot of stuff out there. Okay, I think we are ready to begin. I'm going to approach this a little differently. Usually I read the super chats just right when they come in. I'm going to take little breaks here and there. So if you have a super chat, if you want to throw out your favorite comedy villain, go ahead and do that. Or if you just want to ask me a movie question or really anything about movies or anything in general, leave a super chat and I will get to it when I'm done with my little spiel. Probably in we'll go through 5 of them. I'll check it out. And then at the end, I'll read a bunch. Okay, let's get on with it. Top 10 movie villains from a comedic aspect. Weird way to kind of throw that title out there, but that's what I did. And I actually have 2 runners up. I could have a million runners up, really. I like a lot of comedy villains, but I'm going to give you 2. 2 that almost made my list. And number 1 here on the honorable mention is Regina George, Rachel McAdams from Mean Girls. Mean Girls written by Tina Fey, and she knocked it out of the park here. Regina's great. Rachel McAdams, who's a sweetheart. You know her from The Notebook. She's in the Sherlock Holmes movies. She's all over the place. Usually plays a charming, eloquent, sometimes just princess type character. Very, beautiful on the eyes, very soft spoken. But here, oh my God, Regina is just a powerhouse of awful. She has a diary she writes in. She calls people fugly, which is a great combination of words. Just an all-around garbage person who will eventually kind of be humbled a little bit, but not that much. And it takes getting hit by a bus for her to even drop it a little bit. Love this movie. Love Regina. Almost made the top 10. Another one on my honorable mention, the last one on my honorable mention, is Bill Lumbergh, played by Gary Cole. And this is from Office Space. If you haven't seen Office Space, I think most have now. It was kind of an indie gem for a long time. I don't honestly remember if it went to theaters. I was a teenager when it came out, I believe. I, of course, saw it when it hit DVD, and I freaking love this film. I think the first half, much like Super Troopers, is a lot stronger than the second half when they really kind of kick in a plot. But it's still a really good movie. And Bill Lumbergh, absolutely hilarious with his straight-faced, deadpan humor. He's not supposed to be comedic. He's just, the way that Gary Cole delivers every line is just pitch perfect. And Gary Cole would go on to do another amazing character. I can't remember the name of the character, but in Veep. If you haven't watched the TV show Veep, highly, highly recommend. It's a top 5 TV show comedy for me of all time. I absolutely adore this film. I've gone through it probably 5 or 6 times now. Elaine is in this, and you got Gary Cole, who plays this analytical kind of ass. He's almost a robot more than a person. He knows all these random statistics. But back to Office Space, Bill Lumbergh, just really, really insistent on getting that TPS report. And I remember saying that with my friends over and over again. What's the status on the TPS report? Gonna need that on my desk by the end of the day. All right, I'm gonna get to my top 10 here. At number 10, Rick Moranis, Dark Helmet from Spaceballs. Spaceballs, a parody of Star Wars, of course. I think we've all seen this film. John Candy's in this. Bill Paxton. Is it Paxton or Pullman? I always get them confused. Oh, I'm going to have to think about this. Bill Pullman. I'm pretty positive it's Bill Pullman, the Independence Day president, if that clears things up. Now you know who I'm talking about. He's the Han Solo type. This is a hilarious movie with a lot of great references to not just Star Wars, but Alien has a scene with the chest burster going out and doing the top hat. But Rick Moranis, every time he's on scene, steals everything with his giant, comically large helmet. He's drinking coffee through the thing. He's just this pathetic little man-child yelling at his crew. Nobody respects him. He has this hilarious voice box. The whole thing is gold. Big fan of Rick Moranis all around. And here, as the least threatening villain ever, it just works so perfectly, especially when you kind of play that off of Darth Vader, who was always known as one of the most threatening, badass, star killer characters. Then you go to Rick Moranis, the nerdy neighbor from Ghostbusters. In number 9, this one I feel like is kind of out of left field. I know people know Kingpin. I know people like Kingpin, but I don't hear a lot of talk about it these days. I feel like it was a movie that came and went. I believe it's a Farley Brothers film, the Dumb and Dumber guys. Ernie McCracken is who I'm talking about. Bill Murray is obviously the actor. Freaking love Bill Murray in this movie. His dry wit really comes through, really shines with this character. He's got this ridiculous bowling ball with a rose in it. He perfectly encapsulates that fake ass phony type that you all know, who's a man of the people, but he's clearly on a much higher level in his own head than everyone else. He makes a bunch of money. He's got a lot of fame, at least in the sport of bowling. He's well known, big time champ. He's doing hilarious. My favorite part of the movie is during a commercial where he's with a bunch of cheerleaders, and I don't even know what it's for. It's for like saving children in orphanages or something. It doesn't matter. But he's telling Billy to go deep, and he's down with his hands between the legs of a beautiful woman, and he's like, sit, what? And he's just, it's just so good. All these models, and he's just clearly kind of having his way with them, and it's supposed to be a commercial for children. There's another scene where he tells one of the main characters to take their food outside and eat it. And he's like, no, not. And then he says hi to someone. He's like, hello. And the woman waves. He goes, no, not you. You. Hello. Just an asshole. But he does it with such confidence and with such an effortless humor. That's Bill Murray, though. He doesn't have to try. He doesn't have to ham it up most of the time to get the joke across. That's why I love him so much as Peter Venkman in Ghostbusters. He's just there doing his thing. He's got this cool guy persona. Even when he's playing a kind of an idiot or a loser or a lowlife, Bill Murray's knocking it out of the park. And Ernie McCracken, yeah, I love that character. Here we are. Just in time for the holidays again, we have Harry and Marv. Always confused by the names of these characters because Harry, I believe, is the one that's bald and Marv is the one with the hair. We have Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern from Home Alone 1 and 2. They don't come back after that, and that's probably for the best because there's really no other Home Alone movies, in my opinion, after 2. I know there's diehards out there that will say number 3 is good or it's the best, which is just completely asinine, in my opinion. I think that doesn't hold a candle to the first 2. But Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci, there's no argument about that. These two guys are the Sticky Bandits. They are the Wet Bandits, and they are the perfect duo as villains. I don't think I've ever seen in my lifetime anyone take a crowbar to the face or a stapler to the nuts or to the ass with such gusto, with such brilliant comedic timing. Joe Pesci coming off of movies like Casino, and where he's just a complete hard ass, awful individual who's driving guys out to the desert and burying them after beating the hell out of them with a baseball bat. This is the same dude that I'm now laughing my ass off as he's dodging bricks and slipping on ice, falling down a flight of stairs. Absolutely perfect. He would then, I don't know what came first, actually. I don't know if he's Leo Getz in the Lethal Weapon movies, where he's also playing a very funny, sniveling weasel character in the Lethal Weapon series. But I don't remember if he's in the second one or the third one and what that timeline is with Home Alone. Regardless, he's doing a good job with the comedy angle. I don't know if he really ever did it outside of these 2 films, but he really could have. Kind of like Danny DeVito. DeVito played a lot of really serious roles in his younger time. Obviously, he was on Taxi back in the day, but a lot of serious roles for DeVito, but the man can do it all. And after going, 15 or 16 seasons of Always Sunny, I think he's more than proven himself as an absolute wild card, hilarious comedian. Joe Pesci could have done that, I think. All right, we are at number 7 on my list. This one might be throwing people for a loop. We have Yzma and Kronk, played by Eartha Kitt and Patrick, I can never say his name, Patrick Warburton. Warburton. I always trouble that one. He's so good in everything. Patrick has that amazing voice, that just the really deep, serious David Putty Seinfeld voice that I fall in love with every time I hear it. Eartha Kitt oozing evil out of every single breath as Yzma. Emperor's New Groove is top tier Disney. Most people didn't watch it. They walked away. But you should. Even as a grown-ass man with no kids, I recommend watching Emperor's New Groove. It's really freaking funny. If you like Tommy Boy and you like some of the slapstick humor, but a lot of David Spade-esque material, this is it. David Spade is a complete smartass in this as Cusco. He's playing the character he plays so well, and he gets to bounce it off some really stupid villains. Yzma's a psychotic genius, well past her prime, but she still knows how to get things done. Kronk is a total dipshit, but he's very loyal to Yzma. Not a bad guy. He's just playing for the wrong side. These two bounce dialogue off each other. It's hilarious. My favorite is when she's scolding him about giving the poison to Cusco. He can't remember if he did. And then he's like, oh, yeah, right. The poison for Cusco, the poison chosen specifically to kill Cusco. Cusco's poison. And then he brings it up. A lot of good dialogue like that. A lot of observational humor, self-referential humor. Emperor's New Groove is the shit. It's one of the, it might be my favorite animated comedy. I think that's fair to say. I think that's very fair to say. I'm going to stand by that for right now, and then I can be proven wrong later. At number 6, just looking at his photo, the perm, we got White Goodman, Ben Stiller from Dodgeball. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Stiller plays the quintessential man-child grown up, the little man complex, couldn't get a girl until he got big and jacked. And even then, I don't think he's ever really able to secure a woman because he talks. And that's enough to basically repel any woman that's nearby him. He has a pump for his crotch. He wears these ridiculous shoulder pads around. He has this macho deep voice. He's got this beautiful handlebar mustache. And it's so funny seeing him kind of strut around, like cock around the area in his gym, the global gym, with his gigantic henchmen, Laser and Blazer and whatever ridiculous names he gives them. They sound like characters from American Gladiators. He is a great rival. I know he reprised his role in a commercial a couple years ago. Some of these characters have come back on my list. Sadly, not for full movies. Well, maybe not sadly, after seeing what some of these sequels did do. But they end up going into like Amtrak commercials or credit card commercials. And sometimes I feel like those companies get the characters better than the sequels end up getting them. Yeah, White Goodman also, this feels like the same character that Ben Stiller workshopped years earlier in Heavyweights. Heavyweights, he's in that, and he has a very similar, I don't know if they're the same. I'm pretty sure they have different names, but I easily could have seen this being a crossover character. White Goodman, though, absolute perfection in these movies. At number 5, this is another shot, from the other side of the room that you probably weren't expecting, with an arrow right in the crotch. We have Debbie Jelinski, a.k.a. the Black Widow, from Addams Family Values, played by Joan Cusack. Joan Cusack, arguably the better of the two Cusacks. I know John Cusack, obviously I'm a big fan. I love all his early work, but he fell off the deep end in the mid-90s? Late 90s? I don't remember hearing from John Cusack much at all after Hot Tub Time Machine. Meanwhile, Joan Cusack still gets work. She's still putting in good work. And obviously, anytime there's a Toy Story, she's going to have something to say. As Jessie, the cowgirl, of course, part of the Woody's Roundup gang. I've said enough about that. Debbie Jelinski is 100% pure, uncut evil. And Joan is having a fucking ball with this character. Laughing manically, hysterically. She is just sinister beyond all belief. She looks good doing it. She likes to look good doing it. She rips poor Fester from the Addams family, marries the guy, hoping to kill him and then take all his money. It's the perfect plan. Unless, of course, you're dealing with an Addams. These people, I'm not even sure, can be killed. We've seen their, obviously their grave plots, but I feel like it takes an awful lot to take these guys down, especially when you got the kids attempting to murder their new brother at every waking turn. My daughter pointed out that really Addams Family Values has a couple sets of villains, and all of them are equally great. Not only is Debbie Jelinski fantastic, bitching about not getting ballerina Barbie instead of Malibu Barbie, and for some reason having a Polaroid camera with her whenever she's about to kill one of her husbands. Some of the shots are hilarious. A car will be running down her husband who's like, ah! And for some reason she snapped a photo during this. I love it. There's so many layers to the comedy there. But the other villains in this are the camp counselors that the Addams kids are forced to go to for summer camp. Those are the Granger siblings. No, they're not siblings. They're married. It's a husband and wife. You have Gary Granger and Becky Martin Granger, I believe. I apologize for not knowing the names. This just came to me that my daughter mentioned this earlier, and I forgot to take notes about it. But the Grangers are so good. I do like both those actors quite a bit. Becky Martin Granger is the same actress who she's been around forever. I love her in The Ref, which is a Christmas movie I highly recommend you watch while the holidays are still hot. Check that out. Or it doesn't have to be Christmas, a holiday movie. It's funny for everyone. Yeah, so Addams Family knocks it out of the park with the villains all around. This is such a criminally underrated movie to me. And I don't mean underrated like it's scored bad. I don't actually know what it scored. I don't care what it scored. Rotten Tomatoes wasn't around then. IMDb wasn't a thing then. I just mean it needs to be talked about more in the zeitgeist. I want to hear it screamed from the rooftops. I want people quoting this movie more. It is genius level comedy. And visually, it looks amazing. Everything about it from top to bottom. Addams Family Values is about as good as a sequel could possibly get. That's just my humble opinion. Let's take a break and go to Super Chats. Especially we're right around the 30-minute mark. If you didn't notice, if you're hearing some weirdness with my speaking, it's because I'm on week 2 of this stupid Invisalign. I took them out right now, but I have these dumb things attached to my teeth. They're uncomfortable. I'm making weird sounds. I'm trying my best. Just wanted to point that out. Let's see if we got Super Chats. We have 4 of them right now. This one was from much earlier. Robbie214, shot out of a cannon with $4.99. Thank you, Robbie. Absolutely love your channel, Adam. Don't let anyone or negativity get to you. I'd be so bored driving to work without your channel. Keep it up. Thank you, Robbie. Really appreciate that, dude. I don't know if you're watching on YouTube, listening. I also have these now on the podcast. Adam Does Movies on Spotify. It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. Of course, it's on YouTube. You're watching it on YouTube. It's on Spotify. It's on Twitch. You can find these at twitch.tv/Adam Does Movies, which reminds me, Robbie, after this stream is done in both locations, I will fire up a new stream on Twitch only, and it's a gaming stream. I like to game for an hour or so at night after these streams, kind of just let loose. We're going to be playing Fortnite tonight because the new season just started. It's nice to get my beak wet, nice to get my feet wet, dip back into that water again, see how it feels. So thank you, Robbie, very much. We have Perm, always nice to see him for $10. I love me some Harry and Marv. Great choices. However, in the second one, I would give the gold medal to Tim Curry. Perm is absolutely right. Another film where we have multiple villains. Marv and Harry, fantastic as the sticky bandits in the second one. We also have the concierge department at the, I can't remember the name of the hotel that he stays at. It's a fake name, I believe. I think it was a Trump hotel that they renamed. That's why Trump's in there for a second. But Tim Curry is the main guy at the front. There's also a woman who has been around forever, much like Becky Martin Granger. I don't know her name. She's always really funny. Then you have Rob. Oh, my teeth just smacked together. Super Invisalign. Rob Schneider is also in this. This is where Rob Schneider belongs, as a great supporting character with just a few good lines of dialogue. Getting the tip of gum is always fun to see. But Tim Curry is such a weasel in this. He knows Kevin's not supposed to be at the hotel. He's kind of an anti-hero because he's actually doing the right thing by reporting this kid and trying to figure out what's going on. He's doing a good job, really. But there's this fantastic Grinch scene in the film where he gets an idea and they have the light shine behind him, and he widens his smile just like the Grinch does in the original classic animated film, 1-to-1 with how Curry does this. And he gives me my favorite line of the film, which I brought up, I think, just a couple lives back. He gets Kevin the limousine, and he goes, "Here's your limo and your pizza." He's so good. I love this. I love Tim Curry. It's such a good movie. Thank you, Perm. With your pizza? Or maybe he says cheese pizza and your cheese pizza. Whatever. How he inflects it's great. Robbie's back for $1.99. Does the guy from Angels with Filthy Souls count? Does the guy from Angels with Filthy Souls count? I don't know. Is that a movie? Angels with Filthy Souls. Where is this going to take me? I've never heard of this movie. The story behind Home Alone's fake. Oh, it's the fake gangster movie within Home Alone. That you were smooching with my brother. That's a fun fact. I think most people know this, but if you don't, the black and white movies in both Home Alone 1 and 2 are staged. They're not real black and white gangster films. They made them for Home Alone. Angels with Filthy Souls. That's great that you pulled that name out, Robbie, just ready to go with that. And yes, it counts. Sure, it counts. You were smooching with my brother. I'll give you to the count of 10 to get you lying, stinking, no good, for flushing sack. I don't know. I got to move on. Hulk for $2. Sending support here for the laughs. Great job. Thank you, Hulk. Thank you for smashing that super chat. Let's get back to the list, and then we'll end with the final round of super chats, if any come in. If I can find my list and where we're at. Boom. Cable Blue Blah. Cable Guy, a.k.a. Chip Douglas, a.k.a. about a dozen other names that he goes by, aliases, really. Jim Carrey plays the Cable Guy. This movie, I think, bombed when it came out. Directed by Ben Stiller, who has a great cameo in this. There's actually a ton of great actors in Cable Guy. It's a favorite of mine. Hilarious, dark comedy. It's definitely not going to be for everyone, but it hits all the right notes for me. Jim Carrey, coming off of Ace Ventura and Dumb and Dumber in the more slapstick, goofy, hairball, nonsensical antics there, to a more slapstick, goofball, zany, evil, twisted. I mean, he's playing something completely different here. The thing about Jim Carrey, almost no two roles he plays are the same. If you look at his lineup of films, from The Majestic to Cable Guy to the number 23 even, to The Truman Show, which is a brilliant film, Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber, Dr. Eggman from Sonic, he's playing very different characters every time. Sure, of course, he's still Jim Carrey. You're still getting the weird body movements and the facial expressions and all that. But he's doing them differently every time. Somehow he makes himself completely change. And I think it's incredible. I've praised this guy a lot over the years, but he's always been an inspiration as far as a comedian goes. I always thought he was just top of the line. I know some people hate Jim Carrey. I get that. Everything's subjective, right? Everything's subjective. He gets me, though. I like his humor. And Cable Guy, watching him dance around, snapping his finger, kicking the crap out of Owen Wilson, singing a song. Salt the peanuts, salt the peanuts. It's perfect. It's just perfect. Hope you have some swim trunks because you're going to be channel surfing in no time. He's got a lisp when he talks. He quotes a bunch of movies. I'm pretty sure he misquotes a bunch of movies. He makes a slam dunk off of Jack Black's back. Jack Black's back. Jack Black back. He interacts with Janine Garofalo. He at a medieval times restaurant while putting bacon on his face and pretending he's Hannibal Lecter from Silence of the Lambs. It's gold. Oh, and then, of course, you have his karaoke jam. It can't be topped. Can't be topped. Except for the three that are above it, I guess. In the number 3 spot, we have Christopher McDonald as Shooter McGavin. Shooter! Shooter is just a douchebag. There's no other way around it. He's pompous. He's arrogant. He's been in the game of golf for a very long time. So when this hard-ass, tough as nails, no-nonsense player comes along named Happy Gilmore, who is just as likely to maim you with his golf club than he is to actually swing it at a ball. Yeah, I can see how Shooter's a little upset about it. He's a little troubled. I think, listen, Christopher McDonald, it's crazy. What happened to this guy after Happy Gilmore? I expected him to blow up and get a bunch of comedy roles, but really nothing. Out of all the people on this list, Christopher McDonald is the most MIA for me. Perhaps I just have a blind spot and he shows up in random things here and there. I just don't recall him ever really popping up again outside of maybe one random film. And it's a shame because he owns this role as Shooter. The way he, I think it's so many lines, how he rhymes to Happy, you better be careful what you say or you'll pay. And then Happy starts rhyming off of him. It's just great. Oh, what are you guys doing? I'm just looking for the other part of the bottle that I broke off the bar. There's some, and oh, here's some over here. Or when Shooter tries to insult Happy's boss, who's about 9 feet tall, and he makes a drive, and what does he say? Let's see, Happy, drive me on this, or I'll drive me on this one, or something. And then, no, I'm completely botching it. But regardless, the boss goes, Happy, I beg to differ. Happy hit that in a hole-in-one on his first drive. And Shooter goes, well, why don't you tell Happy, oh my God, and just completely freaks out over the guy. Good stuff. You had to be there. You had to be there, but it was good. I promise you. If you haven't seen Happy Gilmore, what are you doing with your life? Happy Gilmore is top-tier comedy. Hell, Bob Barker is in this movie, kicking the shit out of Happy Gilmore. You got Adam Sandler peak, and then Shooter McGavin. A special shout-out to the guy that Shooter McGavin pays to start heckling Happy Gilmore from the beach. You're going to need a bucket and a shovel because you're playing in the sand, jackass. That would be another fun live, would be to rank like the top 10 or the top 20 best. I don't even know what you would call them. Not even cameo, just the best side characters in movies. Someone like the beach character from Happy Gilmore, or as an example, this isn't what I would put on there, but Rob Schneider in Waterboy. I think this is the first time this thing happened where he goes, you can do it. That's the only thing he does in the film. Characters like that, people that just randomly are in the film for 30 seconds or a minute and then they just bounce. Actually, a great example would be Ben Stiller in this very movie. Ben Stiller as the orderly, who is another villain for sure. Freaking amazing here. Check out the badge. You're in my world now, Grandma. Adam Sandler's, Happy Gilmore's grandma is put in a retirement home that's just the absolute worst. And Ben Stiller's character is putting them to work. They're doing arts and crafts time, which is AKA slang for we are sewing merch to sell off on the black market. And the grandma complains to Ben Stiller's character. He goes, well, now your back's going to hurt because you just pulled landscape duty. He's vicious. And he showed up again in a movie I thought was terrible because I think all knew Adam Sandler's garbage, but he was in Hubby Halloween. If you're looking for a cameo of that character, Ben Stiller is at the beginning of Hubby Halloween. I would have felt like that was bad to spoil, but this movie's been out for a few years now. I feel okay about it. Maybe just watch that part and then be like, why? What? What's the point of him being here? This is really strange. At number 2, but why male models? We have Mugatu. At number 2, Mugatu. That wasn't on purpose, but it is now. Will Ferrell, Zoolander, also in the terrible sequel that most people didn't watch. And if they were unfortunate, did watch, like me, terrible sequel. But Mugatu is an absolute legend in this film. I am a hot potato right now, he will proclaim as he's upset that he's wearing garbage while at a Zoolander fashion show. I invented the piano key necktie. I invented it. What did Derek Zoolander do? Nothing. He did nothing. A lot of great spastic, frantic outbursts from Will Ferrell in this movie. This is Will Ferrell right where he belongs. Having a ball, playing a wild-ass character who dresses in the most ridiculous fashion sense I've ever seen. He has his dumb little poodle dog. He's brainwashing members of the male model community to assassinate important figureheads. Derek Zoolander, for instance, has to kill the Prime Minister of Malaysia. Just random as hell, but that's what has to be done, I guess. What else? But Mugatu is, what do you say? He's perfect. Hansel, he's so hot right now. Hansel, he's eccentric. He's arrogant. He's perfect. It's Mugatu. I'm going to guess everyone knows what my number one is. And if you don't, that's just wild. It should be, I think, everyone's number one. I'm stalling for time because I somehow lost what I was doing. Here we go. We got Mike Myers as Dr. Evil from the Austin Powers trilogy. He gets to play this guy 3 times. Plus, he also did the character at least once or twice more. Well, he played the character for the MTV Movie Awards with Lisa Kudrow, which was great, in his Holodeck Volcano. He also did a Super Bowl commercial a few years back. I think he's done him a couple times since, but 3 movies. There was rumors for a long time they were going to come back with another Austin Powers film. I don't really know where you go after the disaster that the third one was. Still a funny, watchable movie, but my God, making them brothers at the end was one of the dumbest little twists ever. It felt very different from the previous 2 films, and it kind of scares me for Deadpool 3 because I'm getting an Austin Powers 3 vibe from Deadpools. It's plural now. From the Deadpools. Deadpool 3, every time I see it trend on Twitter or whatever, it's just, so-and-so is going to be in this now. Now this character is going to be it, and this character is going to be in it. And if you remember Austin Powers 3, the first 5 minutes is nothing but cameos. Tom Cruise, Britney Spears, Danny DeVito. It goes on. And then that's kind of how it flattens down too, as you have more cameos at the end. And for instance, my kids, this is why this doesn't work. My kids don't know actors. They don't give a shit about actors. It's a different generation. They're growing up with their own things. But truthfully, they just don't have that. Maybe it's just my kids personally, but they don't really idolize much of anything. My daughter really likes Taylor Swift. That's fine. I get that's something, I guess. But she probably couldn't name off 20 actors. Neither could my son. I think that's just how it is now. They also couldn't name off 20 influencers either. My kids aren't really on YouTube or anything. So I feel like I'm doing something right as a parent of a 14-year-old and an 11-year-old. But I do think a lot of younger audiences are like that. So getting to my point, when you watch 2 Austin Powers movies that are pretty damn funny, and then you go to a third one, and there's all these mask-off reveals, my kids aren't laughing because they're like, who is this? Who is this, Dad? Obviously, they know Tom Cruise and a couple of these guys. But John Travolta, my kids don't know who the fuck John Travolta is. They've seen Grease, though. They love Grease. But there's a disconnect there. You know, we grew up in this stuff. A lot of us, not all of us. There's some teenagers that watch the show, which is awesome. Thank you. Thank you, young people, for watching. I appreciate that. You're the good ones. And middle-aged guys that are watching this, we're the good ones too. There's some of us out there on the internet. I feel like YouTube for middle-aged white dudes is just garbage. It's like the most angry people on the planet. And then some of us are okay. Dr. Evil's the best. He's a middle-aged white dude that's very wrong in all the best ways. He doesn't know how money works, apparently. I think it's hilarious that his company is worth more than he even asked for in the sequel because they bought a bunch of Starbucks. He has just as funny of characters as he is with his henchmen. Patty O'Brien, who leaves Lucky Charms wherever he goes. Will Ferrell has a cameo in both these movies. For some reason, they didn't bring him back for the third, which was a mistake. He falls down into the shaft below where he's burned alive and then shot. He somehow survives for a while, then he dies. In the sequel, he falls down a hill, breaks his leg, breaks his other leg. Very funny stuff. Frau Farbissina, the evil woman with the awesome curled hair. There's so many Fat Bastard, Mini Me. I mean, come on. This movie is chock full of hilarious villains. They actually outshine the hero of the movie. I don't really think Austin Powers is that great. Mike Myers, I'm a little annoyed when he's on. Honestly, I can laugh enough. I can get along with it, but I love Dr. Evil. I think that character is so damn good. The way that he talks, even his ridiculous look, this bizarre little this bizarre little scar that runs down the side of his face that's just somewhat present most of the time. His dog, Mr. Bigglesworth, who lost all of his hair in a freak freezing accident. Everything about this movie fires. He wants sharks with freaking laser beams attached to the forehead. He sings the commercial jingle to a Puppy Chow commercial. He stands around doing the Macarena, trying to hug his son Seth. Seth is great in these movies. Seth Green. His character name is Scott. The second one opens up with another thing my kids don't understand, but and that's for the best, which is a Jerry Springer show where Dr. Evil is holding up a globe saying the world is mine before he impales it into a person's skull. Good stuff. I love Dr. Evil, man. Love Austin Powers. And I love doing these live streams. So let's stop there and let's see if any more super chats came trickling in. Now is the time. I'll stick around for a few minutes before I bounce off. We're at 46 minutes. You know, we could extend this to, we could try to hit an hour and I can just chill out and see if anybody has any questions for me about anything, an AMA of sorts. And I can say goodbye to Spotify and Apple and Google and all these other things. Amazon, the podcasts are there. We can cut it early. And thanks for listening. If you want to join me on YouTube and finish this off for some Q&A, hop on over. All right, take care. All right, I say goodbye to them. Now I got to remember to edit that out at the end. So if there's anything you want to ask away. Let me see what I've missed so far. We have Troy McClure for $2. Thank you, Troy. No ifs and or buts. Well, maybe a few buts. Big ones. That's a very nice Cable Guy reference. Thank you. Skip up. Don't you want somebody to love? Don't you need? Great version of the song. Jefferson Airplane. Daniel Fa for $2. Thank you, Daniel. The list is so good, bro. Adam, strong male reviewer. Strong male lead. And for the internet, it's about time. Yeah, we're going to get that strong male lead shirt out. Thank you, Daniel. The list is so good, bro. It's so good, bro. Maybe I need to make an It's So Good, Bro shirt. The movie's good, bro. It's so good. Kyle Nelson for $2. Jerry Springer was the mayor of Cincinnati? What? Doesn't surprise me. You know, my old stomping grounds, I got to turn off Dr. Evil. He's been turned on for too long. It's dangerous. Yeah, my old stomping grounds in Minnesota, Jesse Ventura. Jesse the Body Ventura was our governor. Or mayor. I don't actually know the difference between the two. He was one of them he was governor. He was Governor Ventura because Arnold is governor of California. We had a couple action stars turned governors. Thank you, Kyle. Appreciate that. Thank you. I'm a little disappointed. Matt Sclero, my buddy, he bought me a Matrix poster, which is freaking epic. He framed it and everything. And I was hoping, I kind of had a feeling it wasn't going to work, but I wanted to put it directly behind me because look at this beautiful wall space right here. And the picture would have fit just snug, just perfectly right here. Alas, the reason I don't have anything behind me is because it's very distracting and takes away. So if I had the poster back there, you just saw the frame kind of, it looked like I was sitting in some weird throne thing and there was faces around. It just didn't work. So off camera, if you watch on Twitch after this at twitch.tv/AdamDoesMovies, where I'll be playing Fortnite, you will see from my second camera shot, because I actually set up right over there. I fire up the PS5 and I got a camera over there and that faces that way, faces faces this way, and on that wall is that gorgeous Matrix poster. So you will see it on the other camera on the other stream. We have a super chat from Robbie, 214 for $1.99. I liked your shorts reviewing movie posters. Thank you, Robbie. Yeah, those shorts were actually taken from the long form version. I was trying to do kind of, I'm sure everybody here has seen at one point or another the Expert Reacts videos. Those were very popular. I'm sure they still are, by the Corridor Crew. Highly recommend those if you haven't watched. As a movie buff, Corridor Crew does some really awesome work, high production value. Those guys are fantastic. They just chill on a couch and they talk about movie special effects. I've watched a lot of those episodes. I find them fascinating. And yeah, so I thought, well, what do I know about? Well, I'm a designer by trade. I'm a web designer, not a poster designer, but most of the concepts that you learn about visual communications, which is what my degree is actually in, it's relevant to all forms of, believe it or not, visual communication. So poster design, graphic design, t-shirt, whatever. Doesn't mean I'm good at them. It just means I kind of know what to look for and what's good about them. So I decided, all right, I'm going to do a reaction. I'm going to do poster react videos. And I did those for, I don't know, a dozen episodes or so. Really liked them. They didn't get very many views. And again, this just goes back to the whole YouTube thing sucking. And I understand why and how people work now. You just can't do different things on the channel. And that's the unfortunate part, is you really have to be stagnant on here, and it sucks. I do different shows, but they're all pretty much the same now. Like I do a live show where I'm talking directly at you in front of the camera. I do movie reviews, which is me in the same setting talking to you in front of the camera. I do movie roasts, which is me talking to you in front of the camera. It's a little different with the roast because I script it all out and I'm being a lot more, assy, sarcastic and whatnot. But I used to do a lot of different shows that had a lot of different setups. The Cringe was satirical. I played a character named Khaleesi Grimes 82, completely different background, totally different editing style. I was zooming in all the time and being really spastic. There was copy flying over me, and it was a absolute. I love that show. I thought it was so much fun, but it confused people. People got confused by it, and I lost subscribers whenever I uploaded it. People didn't want to watch the Cringe. They wanted to watch me. I get that. I had another show called Movie Boss, which was basically a sitcom set in a fictitious work environment where I was a douchey YouTube channel creator. I was myself, but like a parody version of myself. And I had a couple friends. They were actually stepbrothers that were in the show with me. And then other people joined in. We did 13 or 14 episodes of that. That was my favorite show to ever do because I was able to write dialogue for a bunch of people. And we had a lot of fun acting it out. And then I edited it. And again, that show just didn't catch on, or I didn't give it enough time. It's really comes down to this. Movie Boss should have been its own YouTube channel. The Cringe should have been its own YouTube channel. Poster Reactions should have been its own YouTube channel. I was trying to treat a YouTube channel like I assume channels work, like they do on cable TV. Oh, cable has Fox, and on Fox you can find Family Guy, and you can find The Simpsons, and you can find Arrested Development, and you can find The X-Files. These are all very different shows, all under one channel. But that's not how channels work on YouTube, at least not for the successful ones, until they get to a point where they're so successful that they can do anything they want. But to build and grow on YouTube, you need to do one thing, or at least several things that all fall under the same exact framework. And that's what I've started to do now. And it does bum me out in a sense. Obviously, it makes things a lot easier on my part, but it stunts some of my creativity. And that's why I've been working on a movie script, because that gives me an outlet to at least put some of the writing that I want out there. And then I also do the movie roasts, which allows me to put some of my humor out there and really think about how I want to approach a joke and, if it's going to land and whatnot. And that's fun for me, even though it's more work. Thank you, Robbie. Oh, then I didn't even answer. I went on this like 10-minute fucking tangent. I didn't really even answer Robbie. Robbie, bottom line is I did the poster reacts for a long time. You can find those full videos. There is a playlist on Adam Does Movies. If you go to the playlist tab, you can find the actual movie poster episodes. There's a whole playlist of them. And then, yes, from those, I cut them up into shorts and into TikToks. And those actually did very well on my TikTok channel. Again, just like with here, I should have made poster reactions a completely separate TikTok thing. That should have been the TikTok. Adam does poster reactions, or Adam does poster breakdowns. And then that's all that would be there. But as it stands, my TikTok, just like my YouTube channel, is the Wild West. I have all those poster breakdowns early on, and then I have out of theater reactions, and then I have shorts from movie reviews and movie roasts. And I know what I'm supposed to do, but it's work to put all this stuff in separate accounts, and it sucks. Hate this. Thank you, Robbie. Okay, Kyle Nelson for $2. If you had $35,000 tomorrow, what would you do with it? Well, Kyle, believe it or not, $35,000 for this family doesn't go a long way. I would pay off hospital debt, I guess. We unfortunately, so since Lindsay has Crohn's, we hit our deductible every year. And for a single person, our deductible is like $8,000, I think. And the family is $15,000. Basically, if you don't know what that means, it means you pay out of pocket a good chunk of each of the bills that you get from the hospital until you hit that deductible. And once you hit it, then you're fully covered. So Lindsay's been fully covered for months now, which is great. But we don't have all those funds at our disposal to pay all those hospital bills. And we did the thing you're not supposed to do because we're honest, like, well, maybe not, honest isn't the fair word. There's plenty of honest people that do it the right way, I guess. But we put it on a credit card, hospital debt. And so then we make payments to that credit card, which is not the way to do it. But when you get these massive bills that you don't budget for because hospital bill is not in the equation, and I only can put so much into the health savings account every month for my paycheck. And since I'm the only worker in the family, because Lindsay can't work because of her disease, and she doesn't have disability because it's South Carolina and it's hard as shit to get, there's just whatever. Long story short, I would pay off credit card debt with the $35,000, Kyle. Now, if this is a hypothetical where I have no debt at all, and we're like pretending that my kids have a bunch of money in their savings accounts, I honestly don't know because I've never been in a place where I've had an influx of cash. I guess I would put it in a savings account. As lame as that sounds, I would just put it in a savings account because I know something bad would happen. I would need it. If it's like funny, like happy money that I can just do with whatever I want, I would, God, I don't know. I think I would probably try to, well, I'd finish my movie script. I would use some of that money. Like, again, this is a hypothetical where I have a bunch of money in the savings and the kids are all set and we're good at home. I would spend a good chunk of it to try to get my script at a pitch deck level that's really well done, and then I can take to studios and try to convince them to make this movie. So it'd be like paying for flights to go to California or go to some of these places, and just try to find the right people. And that costs a lot of money too, I know. But, on the fly, I guess I don't have the most exciting answer for you, Kyle. Appreciate the question, though. Kyle Nelson for $5 again. Here's $5 for a sad answer. We had a similar situation. Hope she gets better soon. What business selfish thing would you do? Yeah, sorry, Kyle. I didn't mean to like Debbie Downer this thing. It's just been a year for a lot of people. I know it's been a year here too. We're all in the same boat, I think. What business selfish thing would you? Yeah, that's what I was saying. I would use it to try to get my script completed and pushed to the right people. I know once it's done, and it's going to be done before the end of this year, so I have a couple more weeks to finalize it. I will be pushing it, and I will have to probably dip into some money and like find some money and get out to California, or at least try to get contacts in California and see what I can do. But that's what I would do with it right off the top of my head. It wouldn't be anything exciting. I wouldn't buy a jet ski or anything. Maybe a surfboard. My kids have surfboards, but I need a much bigger one. I'm 6'3", arguably 6'4", depending on who you ask. I say 6'3". I like to be humbled about it, but yeah, I'm a big guy, so the surfboards, they're just I don't have the stability of someone that's 5'7" or 8. You know, it gets crazy up top here. You have to avoid birds and things. All right, few more minutes. Actually, we hit the 1 minute mark because I rambled so long. I'm gonna give 30 more seconds for anyone that wants to chime in. Otherwise, I'm shutting it down, and I'm going to be on Twitch. Ugh. I'm just standing here awkwardly. Okay, I'm shutting it down. All right, thank you guys very much. This is always a fun time. Sorry to end on like a somber note. Nothing bad, nothing to worry about. We're all good here. We're adulting just fine. The hypothetical was brought up, so I'm just throwing out there what I would do for a responsible person. But everything's good here. Everything's budgeted. Okay, I'm going to be on Twitch in about 10 minutes or so if everything goes right, and maybe I'll see some of you there. Again, if you have an Amazon Prime account, you have a free Twitch Prime account. You're not using it. Jeff Bezos is taking it. So make sure to use it. Go on to twitch.tv/AdamDoesMovies. Follow me there, and then subscribe to me there. There are two different things. Follow me just does nothing. Subscribing actually gives me that free money that's going to Bezos. That's not costing you anything. It's just this money that, while it's costing you something, it's part of your Prime membership, your yearly plan. You throw $5, and that's just going to Bezos's pocket so he can get a jet ski of his own. All right, give me some of that jet ski money. I'd appreciate it. All right, take care. We'll see you next time.